Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Magnesium is a very, very important mineral. And it's a macro mineral, meaning you need more than some other minerals. You need to get more every day from your diet. But unfortunately, many Americans do not get sufficient magnesium. And magnesium is needed for hundreds of processes in the human body. And if you lack magnesium, your body just does not work well. So lacking magnesium contributes to high blood pressure. You can even develop coronary heart disease if you lack magnesium. If you lack magnesium, your blood sugar could go up. You have a higher risk of developing prediabetes or diabetes, which is a terrible disease. If you lack magnesium, you become fatigued. And if you lack magnesium, you lose bone minerals and you have a higher risk of a fracture, even a hip fracture. And at least 50% of Americans do not consume enough magnesium every day. Plus other things contribute to that. Certain diseases require more magnesium, or you lose magnesium in your urine. Drugs can inhibit the utilization of magnesium. We'll go into all this. So welcome to my episode, Why Should I Supplement with the Mineral Magnesium? Hi, my name is Jerry Hickey. I'm a nutritional pharmacist. I'm also the Senior Scientific Officer over here at Invite Health. Thanks for tuning in to today's Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts, or just visit invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe and please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And the information, by the way, on this episode is linked at the episode description, so let's get going. How much magnesium do you need daily? Now, adult women, they need about 310 milligrams of magnesium a day. Pregnant women need about 40 milligrams more, so they need about 350 milligrams of magnesium a day because they're eating for two. Adult men under 30 need 400 milligrams a day, but when men and women are past the age of 30, they actually require additional magnesium. Women at least 10 milligrams a day, men at least 20 milligrams a day. However, there's research indicating that you need a lot more than the government is recommending. You might need about 450 milligrams a day for really good heart health and metabolic health. So, who is more likely to lack magnesium? Well, it's one of the nutrients that you consistently lack as you grow older. Older adults consistently lack magnesium. Diabetics, they lose magnesium in their urine, which is pretty tragic because you require magnesium to control your blood sugar and for insulin to work correctly. In fact, I normally recommend that diabetics take a magnesium supplement twice a day. They're losing it in the urine. This way, they're more likely to have some at key points. Drinking alcohol depletes your magnesium. People with digestive tract issues have trouble absorbing magnesium. Normally, you absorb magnesium from the upper parts of the digestive tract. So if you have celiac disease, a problem with the gluten in wheat, or if you have chronic diarrhea, you're losing it in the diarrhea, or if you have Crohn's disease, inflammation can occur in the upper digestive tract, you're not absorbing magnesium. People with kidney disease may lack magnesium. Asthmatics are often low in magnesium. And unfortunately, the drugs that treat asthma often cause you to lose magnesium in your urine. And this is important because magnesium is needed to relax your bronchi. Your bronchi are the tubes that go into your lungs. So literally, diabetics require magnesium. Now, there's a whole slew of drugs that increase your need for magnesium for various reasons. Proton pump inhibitors, they treat GERD and ulcers and H. pylori infections. They block the release of magnesium from food. You can't release it because you're not digesting the food, and therefore you're not absorbing the magnesium from your small intestine. Examples of those are esomeprazole, which is Nexium, the little purple pill, and omeprazole, which is Prilosec. Diuretics cause you to lose magnesium in your urine, especially Lasix, which is furosemide or hydrochlorothiazide. Drugs for asthma, as I mentioned before, can deplete magnesium, especially budesonide, which is Pulmicort or Rhinocort. Especially budesonide. Drugs for asthma can deplete magnesium, and you need it for lung health, especially the drug budesonide, which is Pulmicort or Rhinocort. Aluminum-containing antacids, they prevent you from absorbing magnesium. Now, many and possibly most Americans do not obtain enough magnesium from their diet. Magnesium, what foods is it found in? Beans, in fact, all legumes, even soy foods. Green leafy vegetables like broccoli and spinach, seeds and nuts, whole grains, especially whole wheat, and avocados, good source. So what are some of the benefits of magnesium? This is incredible. And this is only part of what magnesium does for you. Melatonin release. A part of your brain registers night and day, the suprachiasmatic membrane. And when it starts to get dark, it tells a part of the brain, the pineal gland, to release melatonin. And melatonin is needed for you to sleep. It's needed to build bone. It's needed to balance your immune system so your immune system is working in the daytime. It's likely cancer preventive. You don't release melatonin adequately if you lack magnesium. So that's one major need for magnesium. Energy. You breathe and you eat food and your heart's pumping these things all around the body, so you can make a molecule called ATP. ATP is what gives you almost all of your energy, like 95, 96% of your energy. For ATP to work, it must be bound to magnesium. It's magnesium ATP. And this gives you the energy to breathe, to walk, to talk, to think, everything. Additionally, many of the enzymes that convert the carbohydrates in your food and the fats in your food into energy as ATP require magnesium to do their job. So if you lack magnesium, you're just not that good at creating energy out of your food. Now, strengthening bones. Magnesium is required to seal the mineral calcium into your bone. So magnesium is like a molecular magnet holding your bone together. If your magnesium level is inadequate, your bone crystals will enlarge and your bone becomes friable, meaning weaker and crumbly. Your body also uses magnesium to create new bone cells. Now, magnesium in many studies protects against bone loss, breaking bones, osteopenia, which is the lighter version of bone loss, and osteoporosis, which is the brittle bone disease, where your bone is pretty hollowed out and stress fractures happen easily, and you can break your spine or your hip. Studies show that women with osteoporosis have lower magnesium levels than those with healthy bones. There's also good evidence that higher levels of magnesium strongly reduce your risk of suffering with a hip fracture. Additionally, low levels of magnesium cause a loss of calcium from your entire system, which further weakens your bone. Additionally, when you're lacking magnesium, you lose potassium in your urine. Potassium helps keep your blood alkaline. If your blood is becoming a little acidic, you could go into a coma and die. So to prevent that from happening, your body will take the minerals like calcium and magnesium out of your bone. So you'll lose bone. So when you're low in magnesium, you lose potassium, you become increasingly acidic, and this causes you to withdraw minerals from bone, further weakening your bones. Now, right there, that's enough to want to use magnesium. Magnesium also fights inflammation. They've seen that something called HSCRP is released from your liver when you have chronic systemic low-grade inflammation. And this chronic low-grade inflammation eats away at your health. It damages your heart, it damages your blood vessels, it damages your brain. It can lead to strokes and heart attacks. Not a good thing. Magnesium is connected with a lower level of HSCRP, this measurement of inflammation in the bloodstream. Now, magnesium protects your heart. Magnesium is needed for energy for your muscles. Your heart is a muscle that never quits on you, so magnesium helps your heart pump blood. A good level of the mineral can lower your chances of having an arrhythmia, which is an irregular heartbeat like atrial fibrillation. It also lowers your risk of heart disease, thickening and stiffening of the blood vessel walls, narrowing of the blood vessels. And it lowers your risk of a stroke or a heart attack. People with higher levels of magnesium, again and again in research, have a much lower risk of dying from a stroke or a heart attack or suffering from one. So magnesium, how does it work? It's needed to open up the walls of your blood vessels adequately. If they don't open up, that's bad for the heart. See, the heart is pumping blood about 80 times per minute, about 1 million times every 10 days. So the blood vessels have to respond to that and pop open, which takes a lot of work and a lot of energy. If they don't pop open, the heart has to pump harder to get blood up to your brain and down to your legs and over to your muscles. So that's high blood pressure. So magnesium, along with potassium, keeps your blood pressure down. They're both responsible for that. People who lack magnesium and lose potassium in their urine, this contributes further to high blood pressure, because if you lack magnesium, you lose potassium in your urine. By the way, if you lack those minerals, you also have a much higher risk of losing muscle, something that occurs with aging, and a higher risk of developing kidney stones. There is some level of evidence that magnesium may help boost your good cholesterol, called HDL. HDL gets loaded with a little bit with fish oils and a molecule called phosphatidylserine, and this pulls cholesterol away from your heart, and it helps prevent hardening of the arteries. So magnesium helps boost the level of HDL cholesterol, which works like a vacuum cleaner, sucking fats out of your blood vessel walls. That's called reverse cholesterol transport. You need magnesium to prevent sarcopenia. Without magnesium, you're losing potassium in your urine. This increases your acidity, and this accelerates the age-associated loss of muscle and strength. And you need magnesium to prevent migraine headaches. It works in many ways, so I'll spend a little time with that, because migraine headaches are devastating for people. It's especially helpful for migraineurs, that's the name of people who consistently suffer with migraine headaches, who experience auras, or auras around lights. Now, there's a wave of brain signaling called cortical spreading depression that underlies the visual and sensory changes that cause the aura. And magnesium helps prevent these changes by disrupting the change in brain signals. So it normalizes brain function. Experts think that magnesium helps block chemicals in your brain, or lower chemicals in your brain that are related to pain. These would be the chemicals substance P and glutamate. So that's another way it's helping. You're more likely to get migraines if you don't get enough magnesium, because it keeps your blood vessels in your brain from tightening. So there's a number of things it's doing. So magnesium works by preventing the narrowing of brain blood vessels, which is caused by the neurotransmitter serotonin. So taking a supplement for migraineurs is very important. By the way, hint, riboflavin, vitamin B2 in high doses also seems to help. If you get 200 milligrams of riboflavin twice a day and about 200 milligrams of magnesium twice a day, it could be very helpful. Now, there's also a migraines related to your menstrual cycle. So in women who get those premenstrual migraines, magnesium could be very helpful. Now, it's hard to measure magnesium. It really is. And there's evidence that people with migraines, they're not absorbing magnesium, or it's not getting into their head adequately. It's not getting into your brain. And like I said, it's hard to measure your magnesium. We'll go into that in a minute. So how do you know how much magnesium's in your brain? If you get migraines with auras, just take some magnesium, because it's really safe. In fact, in 2012, the American Headache Society and the American Academy of Neurology, they looked at the studies on magnesium and gave it a level B rating. It's probably effective, and it should be considered because it's really safe. Now, the other thing with magnesium, it helps prevent diabetes. Magnesium is needed for the pancreas to release insulin. So when you're eating food, your sugar's going up. You release insulin from the pancreas, and it stores some of that sugar. I mean, you need other things too, like zinc and vitamin D and chromium and vanadium to balance your blood sugar. But magnesium's right there. So there was a study, people who got the most magnesium from their food were much less likely to develop diabetes. But I'll tell you a different study that was fascinating, that was sent out to medical doctors, nurses, and pharmacists about 2 years ago. They took patients with pre-diabetes. So they're on the verge of developing diabetes. They're really at risk. And they're already damaging their blood vessels, they're already damaging their kidneys, they're already damaging their brain. So pre-diabetes should not be taken lightly. It's a dangerous situation. You're just not diagnosed with full-blown diabetes yet. So they took a group of people with pre-diabetes. All they did was give them a placebo, a fake pill, or they gave them magnesium, and about half of them on the magnesium, their blood sugar went back to perfect. Their blood sugar went back to normal. That's rather amazing from one supplement, one particular element. So how do you measure your magnesium? It's difficult because only 1 to 2% of your magnesium is in your blood. The rest could be inside your cells or locked up inside your bone. So it's hard to get an accurate measure of your magnesium. They think the best way to get it is to look inside your red blood cell. But most hospitals, most clinics, most doctors don't offer this. And it's a little bit expensive. Now, magnesium is really safe. If you eat a lot of legumes, lentils, peas, maybe some soy food, beans. If you eat a lot of green leafy vegetables like broccoli, spinach, and collard greens and kale, and salad, it's in salad too, it's in lettuce. If you eat some whole grains, if you eat avocados, you're getting a good amount of magnesium, but it never hurts to take a little bit extra. The best source of magnesium is magnesium glycinate. It's incredibly well absorbed. It doesn't have that stool softening laxative effect. You could easily fit 200 milligrams of magnesium into one pill. The second best source is magnesium citrate. It's a little bit weaker, like a capsule might be anywhere from 120 to 150 milligrams of magnesium. That one does have a stool softening effect. So that's how I actually pick my magnesium. That's how I actually pick my magnesium. Now, there's actually more to say about magnesium, but what I think I'm going to do is cut it short here. And we'll come back and we'll revisit what magnesium can do for you. So thank you for listening to the Invite Health podcast today. So that wraps up my discussion on magnesium. It's a very safe supplement. It doesn't hurt to take a little bit. In fact, many Americans require more than a little bit. They require magnesium glycinate supplement every day, especially if they're diabetic, especially if they have asthma, especially if they have digestive problems, or especially if they don't have a good diet. So thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts, or visit invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe and please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. I'll hope to see you next time on another episode of the Invite Health podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Jerry Hickey signing off.